Hey guys, it's Camus and another edition of Chess Beauty. And this was the position at the end of Chess Beauty 53, I believe. And I had given you a clue that it was related to Chess Beauty 53, which was an example of Zeppler doubling. So perhaps that's enough of a clue for you to try and figure it out. It's a nice, elegant little problem. It's a white to mate in 3 moves. Okay, so it's a problem rather than an endgame study. So even though white could win a number of ways, he has to win within 3, and that's the challenge. All right, have a go at it. All right, I'm assuming that you've taken a look at this problem, and the solution right away is the very surprising bishop to h8. And this threatens queen to a3 mate. Okay. Now, why h8? It was just a question that occurred to me when I was looking through this. Well, let's look at some of the other tries. So supposing, okay, obviously the reason that the bishop is withdrawing is that the queen can get access to perhaps c3 and certainly a3 is threatening mate there. So, but I decided to look at what happens if he goes to other squares other than h8. So instead of bishop h8, let's look briefly at bishop to e5. And of course, there's that threat that I mentioned on a3. So b4 stops the threat. A queen to g7, threatening a mate on a7. So rook to a8 defends against this. And then white can mate through queen to a7 check, rook takes a7, bishop takes a7, and then some move by black, such as king a2, and then we queen, and that's checkmate. Unfortunately, that's a mate in 5. So bishop e5 doesn't work. Similarly, if we return to the start position, bishop f6 allows, again, with the same threat, queen to a3, allows b4, queen to g7, same as basically as the last variation. So those don't seem to be quick enough to get us to mate here. Also, white has another try. It doesn't involve the bishop. Back to the starting position, you can try queen a1. This is better because king a2, queen to b1 check, king a3, queen takes b2 check, king a4, queen a1 is checkmate, but it's checkmate in 4. So with the problem, we have to do it in 3. So bishop h8 is the only square that the bishop can withdraw to. And the reason will be clear when we see the subsequent gameplay. So back to the starting position, and we'll introduce the key. Okay, and naturally we said there's a threat here on a3. So naturally, if you play something like rook takes h8, then queen to a3 is mate. So, or if he tries king to a2, then queen to c3, and we're threatening a checkmate on b2 there. Rook takes h8, queen to a5 is a nice checkmate. And finally, after bishop to h8, you can try rook to a8, again stopping the mate on a3. But after queen to c3, rook takes h8, queen to a3. These are all mates in 3. So the thematic line of play after bishop to h8 is actually b4 stopping the threat. And now we find out why the bishop had to go all the way to h8. Because white's next move is queen to g7. And that is the only square that the bishop could have gone to that allows white to go to g7. And this has the unstoppable double threat of queen to a7 checkmate, as well as queen to b2 checkmate. So black doesn't have any defense here. He can try taking the bishop, but that's which just stops the checkmate on b2. But then we have queen to a7. So after queen to g7, he can try to stop the mate on a7 by rook to a8. But then we have queen to b2 check. So there's the Turton doubling, and the definition of Turton doubling as opposed to Zeppler doubling Turton doubling is a maneuver in chess in which a piece moves along a line, and then a similarly moving piece moves onto the same line in front of it. Then this second piece moves again along this line in the opposite direction to that of the first. So if you see the main line, we see here that, that's after bishop h8, the queen moves in front of the bishop, but now mates in the opposite direction of which the bishop just moved. And that's an inverse of the Zeppler doubling we saw yesterday, in which the piece moves and then moves in the same direction again to deliver checkmate. All very esoteric. Now, for people that are new to this series, I'm not a problem expert or endgame expert. I'm just someone who enjoys endgames and problems, and this is a layman's perspective, so I'm sure there's hardcore problemists and endgame study fanatics out there who considers this stuff to be, ill-informed or whatever. So this series is really designed for people that are interested, but not deep in this world. People like me. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. Now we'll give you a preview of our next problem. And I should mention this was from Turton in 1856. Very old problem. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at the position to come. Now this is well, I won't tell you who it's from, but this is a mate in 4, and now I'm tempted to give you some clues here. The only clue I will tell you is that things are not quite what they seem, and you're going to need some nonlinear thinking to solve this problem, because there's a certain move that many of you will be tempted to play, and it's wrong. So at the beginning of the next video, I'll tell you what that move is to give you a further hint in solving it. But that's all I'm going to say for now. This is mate in 4, white mates in 4. Good luck with this. You're probably going to hate me when you see the solution. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.